Tonight, marching against racism. Good evening. George Floyd was killed by a police officer in America last week. What happened has had an impact across the world, and for the second time in a few days, thousands here in the capital took to the streets. Well, Londoners stood together to call for an end to institutional racism and police brutality. The crowds met at Hyde Park chanting "Black Lives Matter" and "We will not be silent." Protesters then moved to Parliament Square, where they remain this evening. Well, we'll be there in just a moment, but first let's cross to Brixton, where just a few moments ago our protesters here in London gathered to demonstrate against police brutality in America. The Met Force has had its own share of criticism over the years, from its handling of the Stephen Lawrence murder investigation to claims against individual officers over the deaths of black men in custody. Sean Rigg died 12 years ago while under arrest in Brixton. His sister Marcia has been speaking to our senior correspondent, Ronke Phillips.
I always used to...
Well, as I mentioned earlier, people gathered in their thousands today in Hyde Park. Our correspondent, Simon Harris, has been there all day following developments. All right, well, let's cross now to Ria Chatterjee, who I believe is in... Well, let's go back now to Martin. Well, let's leave today's protests to bring you some other news. And as the world continues to look for a vaccination for the coronavirus, parents are being urged not to forget about the jabs that are currently available for their children to protect them from other illnesses. Fewer children across the capital have been having their measles, mumps and rubella vaccinations since the start of the pandemic. New health practitioners are offering drive-throughs for childhood immunisations. Lauren Hall went to one surgery in Plaistow. The 8 victims of the London Bridge terror attack were remembered today on the 3rd anniversary of the tragedy. A virtual service hosted by Southwark Cathedral was broadcast to allow friends and family around the world to join in. And the traders at Borough Market, unable to physically gather together, reflected in their own way, thanking the resilient community around them, as Chloe Keedy reports. Jed Hall ending that report by Chloe Keedy. Just a reminder of our main story this evening. Thousands. It's not nice, is it?
The number of times I've wanted to use on me.
Felt the odd... I bought my umbrella out though.
Oh, did you? Gardens and pots and all that going on. Still a bit unsettled though over the next few days. That high pressure.
Well, we end tonight, as we began, with how Londoners responded in their thousands, protesting against the death of George Floyd in America and in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement. We're documenting events at today's march was London photographer Nissan Harriman. He shared some of his images with our reporter Antoine Allen. And that is the end of the show tonight. We are back with the latest after ITV News at 10. Coming up, Mary with the ITV Evening News. But from me and the rest of the London team, bye-bye.